right, tonight we're making soap. This is kind of a special request from my sister on what I use for the soap that I make. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take these bottom leaves or bottom things, and I'm just gonna nip them as close as I can to the plant itself. And I'm gonna get me a couple of these and sit aside, and I'll take them in the house and I'll show you what I do with them. My husband is over here. He's gonna cut the aloe vera. What he's gonna do is, if you see, he is cutting the edges off first. And he's gonna just sort of like when you fillet a fish. So he's just basically going down the center there. And then he's going to
basically peel it.
Yeah, basically peel it. What you're after is the aloe vera stuff inside that you, when you cut yourself, you usually rub on your cuts or sunburn. And then he's going to put that aside in the bowl.
So this is what you're looking for. No green, just the clear stuff.
All right, so next he's going to take what he's cut up and just stick it in our little blender and blend it up, and then he's going to stick it in the mold right here, and then we're going to stick it in the freezer and freeze it, because if you don't, when you go to add your lye, it will scorch because the lye gets hot real quick. So you definitely have to do this part. You have to freeze it after you've done scrambling it up in your blender. All right, so he's got it all blended up. Now he's just going to dump it in our molds. It'll be easy to pop out of these molds. And if you got ice cube trays, that's fine too. But we're just sticking this in here. Basically liquefied the aloe vera. All right, so it's very important that you do have a scale in order to measure this out properly. So you're going to turn your scale on, and you're going to fluid ounces is what you're looking for. You're going to put your, see that? Put your pan on there. I don't know if you can see that because of the light. Then you're going to hit it, tare to 0. So what I'm going to use this avocado oil, non-GMO. You can use extra virgin olive oil if you'd like. I just like the avocado oil because it doesn't go rancid. So what I'm looking for is 2.5 ounces. Then this is unfiltered or unfiltered shea butter. And I'm going to get 2.5 ounces of that, which will make it up to 5 ounces. So next I'm going to use coconut oil, and this is organic coconut oil. It's the Kirkland brand, so any kind you want to use as long as it's organic. I'm going for 15 ounces. 15 ounces. And then we're going to melt this down. I'm just going to put it on warm until it all melts. I don't want to burn it up, so just till it melts. So I've got this almost on low, and I'm just melting it until everything is completely melted. All right, as you can see, it's melted, so I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm just going to sit it back here and let it start to cook. Now off to the garage to mix the lye, the water, and the aloe vera that we froze. All right, so I got my scale. I'm turning it on. I'm going to turn it to ounces. Let me see what it says. Okay, it is on ounces. Got my glass thing here. This is probably easier to do it in glass. Let me tear this. Okay, so now it's at 0. This is my frozen aloe vera. Some of it's still gooey on the bottom. What I am looking for is a total of 8.5 ounces. In water. You want to try to get as close as possible with this because it is kind of a precise measurement. 8.8, I mean, I could take out a flake here and it's going to bring it down. Maybe 8.6. So there. This extra I can just sit aside and I can use for the next batch. So I'm going to sit that aside. Let me put my cup on here and then tear it out again. Now this is the lye that you're going to use. Now this does have a fume. It will burn your skin, it will burn your eyes, it will burn your lungs. That's why we're out in the garage doing this.
Three.
Make sure that is 3 ounces. All right, so let me move that. So now you're gonna see what I mean about this. This is frozen. So you can see that is cold. We are going to add the lye to it a little bit at a time. And this is going to heat up pretty quickly. That's why this has to be frozen when you start, because it will scorch it if you don't. And what happens is the aloe vera starts to turn like almost like a lavender color.
We're looking at almost 90 degrees and climbing.
Okay. Usually gets right up around 150 degrees.
Remember, people, this stuff was frozen, all right? Ice cold, and temperature still going up.
Now see, you can see that purple froth on the top. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna just let this sit out here until it gets back down to around 100 degrees and the oil inside the house on the stove gets down to 100. I don't want to mix it when it's too hot. Okay, so now the oil's cooled down to about 120, 100 degrees, and the lye has done the same, so they're about the equal temperature. You can see how purple it is now. Now what you want to do is you want to dump the lye into the oil. And you don't want to sit over top of it because you may still get that fume. Just dump it in there. Let me set this in the sink. And then you're going to get your stick blender and you're just going to blend this probably about 5 minutes till it gets to what they call trace. Okay, so this is what they call trace, where it gets thick enough that it leaves lines in it. So now this is when you're going to add the essential oils that you like. I like the jasmine by Now Foods. So I'm going to just put about a teaspoon in. And then I also like Ylang Ylang by Now Foods, which is really good for your skin, hair, and stuff. And I'm going to put about a half a teaspoon of that in. So those are in there. And then back here, I've got some dried roses that came off of, rose petals that came off of our rose tree, or our rose bush. And this is lavender buds that are dried also. So what I've done is a cup of the rose petals packed and then a 2/3 of a cup of this. And I'm gonna just add this to it. Now what this is gonna do, I'm gonna mix it in. It's gonna make a really good exfoliant for your skin.
In other words, it just makes it rough.
And it smells good. All right, so you can see it's all stirred up. It's got really thick. So he's just gonna dump it in these molds. These are silicone molds. They're easy. So in the morning, when these have been sitting for, I let them sit overnight and then pop them out, but you can let them sit 24 hours. We're gonna cover them with some cling wrap for a little while, and then as soon as it starts to harden off, I'll just throw a towel over top of it and then let it cool the rest of the night. Well, actually it's already cool, but it'll harden up. All right, so he's got them all in. He kind of tapped them a little and pushed them in so to make sure there was no air bubbles. He's gonna take some cling wrap and just lay over the whole thing. And like I said, this is just to keep it from sticking to my towel. And we're just gonna leave that on until probably tomorrow morning. And then we'll take the cling wrap off. And then I'll just throw the towel back over it probably, and I'll pop them out tomorrow night. So it takes about 24 hours for them to completely harden up. And then you're going to let them cure for, it takes 30 days for soap to cure. So I'll show you here in a minute, as soon as he's done covering this. Here's the towel to cover the top of it. And just put it in a room where it's not going to be disturbed.
Or your kids ain't gonna mess with it. Or your dogs. Or your pets.
All right. All right. It's been about 24 hours. You just pop these out and they look like this. And they're going to cure for a month until they'll turn this lighter color. That's all you do.